Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tanner's Favorite Things. I'm Tanner Knight, and today we have another Martin box. And we actually just had one of these on the very last video, but this is a very different, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a very different thing than we had last time. Although it still might have 6 strings. So let's go ahead and tear into this thing and see what's in the box. Well, here's a little, I don't know, a little hint, I guess. This is, in fact, a Martin guitar, so might as well just come clean about that fact now. So, here we go. You stay. This is a gig bag in which it is shipped. Martin & Co. Nice zippers on the outside. These look like they might be kind of waterproof, too. There's some case candy in here. Not sure what that is, maybe a key or something, but some documentation. Let's see what is inside this case. All right, we have a brand spanking new Martin acoustic guitar. This is the Martin Special GPC all-solid grand performance acoustic, and it also has an electric preamp, which I believe is right here. Okay, so I see that there's no strap button in here. I'll bet it gets shipped that way, so I'll bet our strap button is in this bag here. Well, no, that's an extra. Well, is that the strap button? No, this looks like a big old post for the bridge. This is what is in that bag. Come on, focus. There we go. Put that back in there. So we'll have to find that little pin. Otherwise, I'm not sure if the preamp is going to be accessible. I'll get a close up here. You can see what I'm talking about. There's just a hole here, and I don't know much about guitars, but I know that there's usually a strap pin right here, and I'm pretty sure this one doubles as the input for the preamp on this particular model of Martin guitar. There's a tag here. Let me just go ahead and read what this says. Proudly strung with Martin & Co. strings. Gives you serial number. And yeah, just a little information about the guitar. So let's get a good look at this. We've got a satin finish is kind of what I would consider this top. Let me see if I can get it a little out of the light so you can see it better. This light is blinding on this spruce top. This is an all solid spruce top, and I believe all solid sides. Maybe a laminate back. Have to do a little bit of digging to find that out, but let's take a look at these sides. Pretty nice. And the back, nice figuring, little dancing there. So a really nice guitar by Martin, and it says on the inside, Road Series, special, made in Mexico, CF Martin & Co. Inc., Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Let me see if I can actually get the camera to focus on that. I don't know if there's enough light, but that's what that says inside. So satin finish, a kind of single cutaway instead of a dreadnought shape, which is no cutaway. This is, I would say, the second most popular style of acoustic guitars over the dreadnought, but this is the single cut version. And I'm not exactly sure what our fretboard is made out of, but it looks like it's some sort of ebony imitator because it's got some streaks in it. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but the other strap button here is looking good. Our tuners are, I think they're branded Martin. They are Martin branded tuners. And of course, Martin strings. My first impressions of this guitar overall, it feels light, but it feels very sturdy. It doesn't feel like a lot of kind of, I don't know, mid or entry level acoustic guitars that are more laminate. It feels like a solid guitar. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this satin top, and I'm still not sure. I think it's going to have to wear on me a little bit, but I think the beauty of this top is that the more it gets played, the glossier it's going to get just naturally, and that's going to be really cool. So I guess that's something you can look forward to. Playability wise, I haven't even strummed it yet, so we'll have to get a mic on it and see exactly what that feels like. But just out of the box, I would say the neck is a slim feeling neck. It's certainly not chunky or baseball bat feeling. It's what I would compare to like a Gibson 60s neck. I don't know if that translates to acoustic guitars or not, but that's kind of what I would say. It stays pretty slim all the way from the nut to, I don't know, maybe the 10th or even 9th fret before it starts to chunk up there. But it has a nice heel join right there. You can see where the neck is joined to the body. And otherwise, the bracing looks really clean inside. There's no squished glue anywhere, no dull router bit marks, and pretty standard bracing. So I'm sure this is a really solid, just all-around good guitar. So let's go ahead and mic it up and see what she sounds like. Alrighty, so I got this thing all tuned up, and I've strummed it a little bit, and it plays really nice. I'd say that for a guitar out of the box, any guitar out of the box, the action is excellent. It's very low, and it's consistent all the way down the neck. There's no real fret buzzing. But that's generally how it sounds. Let me make sure I'm not peaking my audio. It looks pretty good. Just for the folks wondering about audio capturing today, this is my first acoustic guitar on this channel, so I don't do this very often, so hopefully I'm doing it right. I have a condenser microphone, an Audio-Technica AT4033 SE. It's a condenser microphone, like I mentioned, right here. And then I have an SM57 in a different track, both being captured simultaneously. I haven't pointed at the sound hole. I think that's probably the best place to capture acoustic guitar. My dad used to do this all the time, and I think this is how he used to do it. So if the sound is, I don't know, less than top quality, then let's just chalk it up to my inexperience with capturing acoustic guitar. But I want to make sure that I try to do this justice and show you what a relatively inexpensive New Martin can do and what it sounds like. There are several tiers of New Martins, all the way up to $6,000 or 7 or 10 maybe. I don't know. I have never topped out the market there, but either way, you can get a really nice New Martin at any price point. So it's interesting to take a look at these lower tiered price point guitars. Are made in Mexico, obviously, which to me, that's not a deterrent, because those plants down there in Mexico have been making quality instruments for well over 20 years now, and they pretty much have their techniques dialed in. So an instrument that's made in Mexico is by no means an inferior instrument. I did discover that white or ivory, whatever you want to call it, pin is the pin that goes in here for your strap. I guess that's an acoustic guitar thing. I don't know. And obviously the preamp input is right here on the bottom bout. So that's what's going on. There's a 9-volt behind this battery. You can access that 9-volt very easily. It's great. So we're going to go ahead and hear this thing acoustic, and then we're going to also plug it in and do something really foolish with it. So let's hear what it sounds like just out of the box. Again, this is a brand new guitar, and most people will recommend that you let it sit for 24, 48 hours to just kind of acclimate to a new climate. But we're breaking all the rules today, and we're just going to go ahead and dive in and hopefully try to keep this thing nice and humidified down the road. So here you go. Martin, special, whatever all that said. It's a pretty rich, nice tone. It's brighter than a Dreadnought, I would say. I think that's one of the characteristics. They say that the single cut does add a little brightness to it, and that's evident from the start. So very nice sound. It's not the loudest acoustic guitar that I've ever played, but I do think that a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that this particular wood has not been vibrated as much as an older guitar. So that's kind of the phenomenon with wooden instruments, is over time, the more vibrations you put through them, the richer and sometimes louder the sound. It's not a guarantee, not 100%, but with most well-built instruments, that's usually the case. And obviously that's why you hear people saying, oh, that's why I want a 1968 Gibson Dove or whatever, because that wood is matured to a certain point where it sounds the particular way that it does. So you can count on this guitar maturing, is a short way to say all of that. So let's go ahead and hear a few different parts, registers. You know, let's play a little higher up on the neck and see what this thing sounds like. Can really wang on these strings, and they respond well. I like it. Nothing dull about this guitar. It's very lively, very punchy, and very bright. So that's all good so far. Let's see what else we've got here. Just a little different style. Bach for you. So that it plays very nicely. That's the one thing that I can say. The action, the fretboard, the skinny frets, these are skinnier than I'm used to as an electric guitar player, and they feel very fast and out of the way. The one thing that I've noted is that these inlays, these dots, are super tiny. I don't know. Just make them bigger. I don't know. But that's my personal preference. But they're tiny dots in a nice dark fretboard, so that's a pretty classic acoustic style with a spruce all solid top. So I would suggest oiling up this fretboard. I think that's probably something that can be done very easily. Just pop off the strings and do that, but I'm not going to do that in this video. Otherwise, it's ready to go, and other than that, it's ready to plug into your rig. So let's check that out now. All right, we are plugged in. I've got this thing plugged into my Marshall Plexi 1987X 50-watt head. I know, incredibly stupid, but I've actually played it a little bit and it sounds surprisingly good. So we've got this guitar going through my pedal board, so all kinds of fun effects we can add going into the Marshall head. And on the other end, I have a speaker cabinet with two V30s, an orange PPC cabinet with two Celestion V30s. So a very rock-oriented amp and cabinet with an acoustic guitar with a Fishman. I can't remember the exact name of it. We'll find that in a second. The Fishman preamp in this. it takes a bright guitar and makes it even brighter and a whole hell of a lot louder, that's for sure. I don't have earplugs in, which is kind of stupid, but I don't think, here, let's see what it does on my decibel reader. It does, shit, it pushes 696 or 100, so it's much louder than I should be playing without the earphones. Well, let's go ahead and play at a more reasonable volume and see what that sounds like through the Marshall. Fully engaged, by the way. We got 100% on the volume there. So it's cranked going through this Marshall head. It's creating a predictable amount of hum. So I think that that's to be expected with any kind of instrument that is a pure hollow instrument. That's why hollow body electric guitars in the 50s just didn't cut it for the rock and roll of the 60s. Those guys wanted more volume and more power, and the more amp they threw at their hollow body guitars, the more hum it caused and created. So they had to really run with the solid body guitar idea, and that's why you see the ones behind me that you do, because they can crank out a shit ton of sound and not give you any hum. But as far as what this is designed to do, it's not designed to do this. It's designed to work with an amp that is an acoustic guitar rated amp, or just an acoustic amp. And those amplifiers are designed to deal with the overtones of an acoustic guitar and produce an amplified version of it without creating that pain in the ass hum. So just take the fact that I don't have one of those amps as the only solace as to why I'm not showing you that. Otherwise, I would totally show you what an acoustic guitar paired with an acoustic guitar amp sounds like. But for those of you out there who know, you pretty much understand the concept, and hopefully this gives you a good enough idea as to what to expect. So this is a really, really high value package at under $1,000 for an acoustic guitar with a solid top. And the neck is one piece here. Does not appear to be a laminate, which is also a nice addition for any kind of budget instrument. You want your neck to be solid, top to be solid, sides and back if possible. But if not, then I think the sound difference is pretty negligible. But I am by no means a connoisseur or expert. I live in the electric guitar realm. But hey, you got to pick up an acoustic every now and again. And if you're going to, hey, why not plug it into your freaking Marshall stack? So that's the story with this one. A little different than our normal guitar content here on this channel, but I'll give you kind of a quick overview of what I see here before we sign off. We have, again, this bridge. It looks like an ebony knockoff. Let me put this on standby here. Let's turn it off. I don't know exactly what this wood is, but it's either some sort of stained wood that's meant to look like ebony or just some other dark wood, and it's meant to give you that ebony look. So I would contemplate putting a little bit of the Formula 65, the lemon oil, or not lemon oil, but the kind of oil that hydrates wood like this. I would recommend doing that on the bridge as well as the fretboard here, and that will help with the longevity of those two devices, especially if you live in a drier climate like Utah. We have just a nice little tortoise shell pickguard glued on here, a black, white, black ring around the sound hole. So nice little appointments, not just bare wood. It's got a little bit of design to it. A black binding, which I assume is a plastic binding, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But it adds just a little bit of high-end feel. The preamp battery just comes out like so. It's a 9-volt. We got an Energizer Industrial shipped from the factory. So that's nice, good to go. It was not dead when it showed up. Always a positive. And simple 1/4-inch jack otherwise. It's a plastic plate that's screwed on here. Seems pretty sturdy though. Otherwise, I think that may be it. This guitar stayed in tune pretty well throughout the duration of this demo, despite just being opened up right from delivery. So count that for what it is, but either way, these tuners perform pretty well under those circumstances. And I believe that I believe the nut is a synthetic nut. I doubt it's bone, but it looks like a pretty good imitation. Doesn't have any writing or anything on it, so it's not a Tusk or a company like that. Yep, got a nice little veneer on the front of the headstock. The preamp looks like it's pretty sturdily glued in there. I don't know if that's a word, but it looks sturdy. And again, all bracing looks to be very clean and very solid. So this thing is built for the long haul. I would say if you're starting out on guitar and you want an acoustic guitar that's going to sound good, that's going to work in a lot of different scenarios, not just with mics on the sound hole, but you can plug the frickin' thing in. That's a huge versatility bonus for me. And the playability, the neck, I like the nice thin neck. It's a satin feeling neck as well, so your hand won't get caught up on it. It moves very freely. Just a nice overall feel to it. And the sound is a little bright. I think that it will mellow over time, but expect that for most guitars in this price point, I would say. Also, you could change the strings to dull that effect if you wanted to put some heavier strings on here. That might help. But either way, I would say a very solid package for the money. And if you're looking to beat up an acoustic guitar and take it on the road, this is a really great guitar for your number one, or even number two if you have like a nicer guitar that you want to play and showcase, but you're afraid it's going to come up missing or get smashed. It's always good to have a relatively inexpensive backup. This would be a great example of that if you're in that situation. So let me know if you have any experience with this particular model of Martin guitar, if you have any questions about it, and we can get those answered for you. So if you like this content, feel free to like and subscribe. That always helps. And if you do want to hear more about this particular Martin guitar, just let me know in the comments. Thanks again, and we will see you on the next one.